Hi, I'm Sage Hill, and welcome to the Social Sage. As always, I invite you to subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, be sure to like the video, and please provide me a comment to this particular episode, and feel free to put anything in the comments that you feel you would like to hear about that's positive, and I will be happy to talk about that topic at some point in the future. So today we're going to be talking about the challenges of dating. I have a daughter, as most of you know, and I have watched as she has gone through this kind of metamorphosis when it comes to dating, from being excited about being in a new city and having an opportunity to meet new people, to just being tired and frustrated with the whole process. And yes, I live in Atlanta, where so many young women and men come every day to find this magic that happens here in Atlanta, to establish themselves in their careers, to start music careers or acting careers, in many instances. And others just want to come here because they know that the opportunities for African Americans within Atlanta, be they in the corporate world or from an entrepreneurial standpoint, are abundant. And that much is true. What is not necessarily abundant are quality dating opportunities. I'm just going to put it out here. Online dating has evolved over time. It started out not necessarily being so bad. I think when the whole idea of online dating started, you had a pool of people that were really, really interested in meeting that one, who were interested in commitment and who were interested in having an opportunity to meet a larger cross section of, this world, honestly, than they had been exposed to in the past. And that is one of the positive things about online dating, right? It allows you the opportunity to be able to look outside of your immediate community and perhaps find individuals that have similar likes and interests and values as you do, but perhaps a little bit further away. And then over time, I believe that online dating started changing into a place for people to hook up, just honestly. You had Tinder and particularly Tinder and Bumble even sometimes, and they were put together for a very specific reason. But then over time, again, there was another evolution wherein even those platforms tried to change so that they could attract more than just a one night stand, but again, people who were looking for their person. Now, the problem, as I see it, with online dating seems to be that there is this there's not a pool of perpetual people anymore. It's just turned into a straight on cesspool. Just being honest. There are many, many people who utilize online dating as a way of manipulating others, point blank, period. You have, and I'm going to say that goes both ways, men and women. You have some women that go on there because they just want to get out and they want to date. And in some cases, I want somebody to take me somewhere, do this, do that. but they use it as a way to just move from this person to that person just to be able to get out of the house, just to be able to get something, have something to do. There are those people that do that. Okay. There are men that do the same thing. Then there are men who use social media as a bait and switch opportunity. Some that can really create some very dangerous situations. There are stalkers online. There are predators online that are simply trying to fulfill some sick fantasy that they have, and quite honestly, to hurt someone. So you have to really be careful for that segment. And then you have those that are just looking for someone to, quite honestly, take care of them. They need a place to stay. They want to be able to take over somebody else's life and, just kind of weave their way into their lives. And before you know it, they're living with you and things go south. Now you got to try and get them out of your house. You may have exposed them to other people in your family that may be living with you. Hopefully not children, but all of these things are more prevalent now on social online dating sites. And that leaves many people, both men and women, in a quandary when they're really interested in finding that committed relationship where they can devote and dedicate their lives to one person and find their person and build a life, a partnership with that person. Unfortunately, finding those people is like looking for a needle in a haystack. So what do? Maybe you try a different form of dating. Maybe it's one of those after work kind of things where, you get together and you do the round table and you switch. I've got an episode that I want you to watch of a skit about one of those very types of dating. And this is intended to be comedy, but I guarantee you that you will find one experience that you've likely had in one of these scenes. Let's watch. Okay, so now you've seen that video clip, right? And how many of you have experienced one or several of those? I think the Morehouse one, that was by far, that was the most funny clip to me. That was the scene that I just said, yeah, I've heard women here in Atlanta who have met, no shade on Morehouse, but it just is what it is, who have met a guy who graduated from Morehouse, and sometimes they graduated from other schools as well. It could be an Ivy League school. It doesn't really matter the school, but they come with this air of arrogance and cockiness that they think is attractive and that most women find as a turnoff. Hey, it's great that you have experienced success and that you have created a level of educational achievement and accomplishment for yourself. But that doesn't make you better than others. It just doesn't. We've all achieved something in our lives, and you have to be careful what you lead with. Because see, here's the thing. You have, again, men and women. I'm going to start with men, but I'm going to come back to women. You have some men that lead with stuff, lead with their cars, lead with their clothes, lead with their jobs, lead with their money, lead with who they know, lead with their education, and then wonder why it is that they keep attracting people that in their minds are only after one thing. But that's what you led with, though. Same thing with women. You have women who lead with their bodies. coming out on their date, showing everything that your mama gave you, and then wondering why men are coming at you in a certain way, because that's what you led with. Let me tell you something. A man likes to use his imagination. But when you show him everything you got, you don't leave much to his imagination. But when you are that built, ladies, there's nothing that you can wear short of a potato sack that's not going to show what you have, but maybe in a little bit more flattering way. And because men are so visual in nature, when you show up and you have on something that isn't quite as revealing, they start focusing in on, yes, they're looking at the outside, but they also start paying more attention to what you're saying. They're paying more attention to you. And then they're going back and forth between being impressed by what you say, as well as being intrigued by how you look and trying to figure out what it really looks like. That's the nature of a man. But on both sides of the aisle, I think we tend to have a real struggle with presenting our authentic selves. We put on this facade. We go to all of these lengths to present ourselves in such a fashion that it becomes exhausting to keep up with. And then when you keep having the same experience over and over and over again in terms of these dating experiences and having the same boring conversations over and over again, telling the same story over and over again, only to feel like you're wasting your time. I think that we would all serve ourselves better, as well as the people that we're trying to attract, if we would just show up as our authentic selves. Stop introducing people to your representative. Introduce people to your soul. Introduce people to your true character. Let them know who you really are. Be willing to be a little vulnerable, because that is how people get to know you. And guess what? If you have a level of vulnerability where you can share over time with the right people, you will find that you are connecting from a different level. And that is the level that counts. Connecting from a level of shared values, shared dreams, shared goals and objectives, shared characteristics and character, shared standards, shared hopes for the future. Those are the levels that you have to connect to. Now, it's really easy. And when I say it's easy, it's really easy to connect with people from a very surface level. But when you only connect from the surface, that's all you're ever going to get is surface. And sometimes you have to be willing to do things differently. So we've talked about this whole just online dating challenge in terms of being able to really find that good person. Because what typically happens, you have a few conversations, they don't follow up, they're not consistent with their communication. Sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. People are so busy playing games these days. Women are looking at, okay, I texted, did he text me back? Okay, well then when he texts me, I'm not going to text him right back. I got to wait. It's a game, and it's become a game, and people are becoming um, they're adapting to, and they're becoming adept at playing the game. They're good at the game. But if you really want to find a committed relationship with a person that is worth your time, and a person that has a character, and the character that is prone to be committed, to be faithful, to be a loving partner, we've got to stop playing these games. And the only way to really stop playing the game is to get out of the game. So what do I mean by that? Take some time out for yourself. When you're starting to see that this whole dating scenario is just going south rapidly, it's time to pull yourself out of the game. You don't have to be in a rush, ladies and gentlemen. Slow down. Take your time. The right person is going to come, but they're not going to come if you're not ready. You have to get yourself ready mentally. You have to acknowledge to yourself what it is that you're really and truly looking for. And you have to be what you want others to be to you. You have to be authentic. You have to be consistent. You have to be willing to stop playing the game, because it's not a game. Look, there are women out here getting hurt. There are women out here getting killed because of situations and dating and being with people who were not emotionally mature enough to handle a relationship. And then when that relationship goes south, or she tries to walk away, then they can't take it, and then they come after them, and she ends up either hurt, in the hospital, or dead. Every day, 5 Black women and girls die at the hands of someone that they know. Generally speaking, it's in some sort of a dating or committed relationship experience. So this is not a game out here. It's time to put yourself first and to be as serious with others as you want them to be with you. So if online dating is not the place to go, then what do? Well, first, I've told you the first thing you have to do is to get yourself together, up here and in here. Be ready to present your authentic self. That doesn't mean that you have to lay everything about yourself out on the line, that you have to be totally open and vulnerable with everyone that you meet. No. But what you do have to do is to be ready and to be honest and to be capable of sitting back, taking your time, and getting to know a person's character. You don't have to run and open your door to your place and allow people to come through your home like it's a revolving door. Take your time, meet them out on dates, drive to the date. Take an Uber if you need to, but go on your own. Meet them in a neutral space. Take the time to talk to them, to FaceTime with them so that you can see them in their environment. Make sure you're not sharing too much information about your private life, like where you live. Go on to social media and try to remove as much of your personal information as you can. And yes, there are sites out there that will do that. You've got to be very much mindful of your own safety while you're dating as well. But here is what I suggest that you do. Get out and mingle. Mingle with people who have interest that you have. If you have a particular passion for a particular charity, volunteer. Attend the galas and the fundraising events that they have. Make sure that you are availing yourself when people invite you to go to different social events, because it's at those places that have activities that are of interest to you that you're going to find other people that share those same interests. Don't be so closed that you miss your person. Because 9 times out of 10, your person is hiding in plain sight, but you overlook them because you're looking for that type that you've identified that really isn't your type. That type comes with a whole nother set of issues. They know they're the type. And so you're not going to be their only pursuit. You're not going to be their only person of interest because they know they're the type and they're not ready. And you have to be able to identify those people who are not ready for you. Oh, you know your boundaries. What do I mean? What are those things that upset you when you've been dating? What are your pet peeves? What experiences have you had that you didn't like at all? But yet, when you keep going after that same type of person, you're going to experience those same things. Start looking inward. Look for that connection that is here. Because everything here is going to change over time. Beauty fades. We all age. Gravity sets in. It's going to happen. The person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with needs to give you more than just a pretty face. So I encourage you that while you are in this moment of your life where you're trying to meet people that you can get to know better, allow yourself time. Don't just jump at the first opportunity. Because see, here's the thing, ladies. When a man meets you and the first thing he wants to do is just like, I want to lock her down. Sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of times, they're moving fast because they're on a timeline. They're trying to find someone they can stay with. They're trying to get into a different situation and they see your situation as being better than theirs. And you have to be careful. Be careful of people that are rushing into things. Be very careful of that. Take a moment and step back because there's so much more about that person that you're going to need to know. Sometimes we can get so wrapped up in the thought of being in a relationship that we rush into relationships that were not meant for us and will not work out. And then we have to go through all of the heartache and the heartbreak, the anger and the resentment when that person shows their true colors. And ladies, let me tell you something. If you're thinking about coming to Atlanta, you better bring your man with you. Because there's a whole lot of competition out here and there's a whole lot of nonsense out here. So, don't just be so quick to think, oh, well, you know what? I know I could go to Atlanta and meet me a man because I got all this going on for me. Guess what? You're one in thousands of beautiful women here in Atlanta. And they all thought the same thing. From celebrities to everyday working people who are all beautiful, they thought the same thing. And they're still single. And I can guarantee you they have a long list of stories that they could tell you about experiences that they have had. You have to protect yourself, ladies. There are so many real things out here these days. AIDS among the Black community are soaring above other communities. And as I've already alluded to, the fact that so many Black women and girls are dying out here, that's no joke. So you have to make sure that you're taking your time when you're meeting these people. Make sure that you hey, you need to phone a friend sometimes. You need to take that person around your friends several times. You need to see that person in their environment. You need to see how they interact with their families. You need to listen to what they say about their former relationships. Because in all of those things, you're going to get the answers that you need to make an appropriate decision as to whether or not this person is for you. There are a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing out here. Again, on both sides. So you have to know what you want. You have to be certain of who you are. You have to be authentic in your representation of yourself. And you have to be patient to find your person from here and not just from here. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this particular episode. And I'd actually love to hear your experiences, whether it's related to something I've said or in the clip that you saw. Tell me about your experiences that you've had as you've been trying to maneuver the single life, and how you have created the standard by which you will date, and the boundaries that you've put in place so that you can be certain that you're safe and that you are not moving too fast into relationships that are only going to end in heartache or worse. It's been a pleasure, my treasures. This has been Sage Hill, and you have been listening to The Social Sage.